Everyone knows not to take candy from strangers on Halloween, but why is that? Usually, people bring up stories of sickos poisoning the candy, but most of the time, those stories are just urban legends. However, not every story is fake, and one man in Texas proved every parent's fear right when they poisoned the candy on Halloween. And the craziest part about it is, he gave the poisoned candy to his own son. Ronald Clark O'Brien was born in Houston, Texas on October 19, 1944. 30 years later, he was married with 2 children and lived in Deer Park, a suburb of Houston. Ronald wasn't doing well financially. He had been through 21 jobs in the past 10 years, and with his family to take care of, things were certainly tough. Usually, Ronald would be fired from jobs because of negligence or fraud, and his job at Texas State Optical, where he made eyeglass lenses, was going the same way. He was on the verge of being fired for stealing from the company. This would only add to his financial woes, as he was already over $100,000 in debt, which adjusted for inflation would be over $600,000 nowadays. Sometime in the late summer to early fall of 1974, Ronald began crafting his insidious plan that would stain Halloween for years to come. He began talking to customers and people around town about cyanide, where to get it, how much it's lethal, and things like that. In early October, he even visited a chemical outlet in the nearby city of Houston, just a 20 or so minute drive from his home, to buy cyanide. When he found out that the smallest size he could buy was 5 pounds, he left. Around the same time, Ronald took out various life insurance policies on his 2 children, 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien and his 5-year-old sister Elizabeth O'Brien. All in all, these policies were supposed to be enough to pay off his massive debts. Ronald's wife, Daneen, would testify in court that she knew nothing about these policies, only a $10,000 policy that they had gotten through a local bank club, which she had urged him not to get. According to an insurance agent at the trial, however, Robert said that the two had discussed the policies together and agreed to them. With the policies prepped, Timothy's time in the world was winding down. On October 31st, 1974, Timmy and his sister went trick-or-treating with their dad, alongside one of Ronald's work buddies and his 2 kids, 4 children in all. As the group was walking in a nearby neighborhood, Ronald ducked off momentarily and came back with 5 giant pixie sticks, which are tubes of flavored powdered candy that are pretty popular across the United States. Usually, pixie sticks aren't more than a few inches in length, so the kids definitely thought that the giant sticks were a score. Saying that he got them from a person who had failed to answer their door moments prior, Ronald passed the sticks to the 4 children and gave the last one to a random trick-or-treater. When they got home, Ronald encouraged his children to eat their candy, and Timothy went for the pixie stick. When it first hit his mouth, Timmy said that it was bitter, so his dad gave him Kool-Aid to wash it down. In Ronald's own words, Timmy started complaining about stomach pain 30 seconds later, followed by vomiting and convulsions. Paramedics rushed him to a hospital, but it was all in vain, and less than an hour later, Timothy was deceased. When the coroner examined his body, he was greeted by a familiar smell of almonds coming from the boy's mouth. That smell, he knew, was cyanide. When police started their investigation, things quickly went south for Ronald. They discovered several incriminating facts about him, such as the fact that he had called his insurance provider the very next morning to collect on Timmy's insurance policy. As they searched his house, they found a mechanical calculator whose tape, which is the paper that keeps a running total of all the amounts being added, listed the insurance policy amounts in total. They also found a knife with pixie powder on it, which was clearly what he used to tamper with the pixie stick. Going further, they were able to collect the 4 other sticks that he had given out, including one given to an 11-year-old boy who tried to eat it but couldn't because he wasn't strong enough to take out the staples that Ronald used to close it. When he was asked where he got the candy, Ronald led the police to the nearby house of Corey Melvin. Unluckily for Ronald, Corey had an alibi. He was a supervisor at the nearby Hobby Airport and had not arrived home on Halloween until 11 p.m., well after the children went home. With no more stories to tell and all the evidence pointing to him, Robert was quickly charged for the premeditated murder of his own son. Once the trial began, Ronald's luck went from bad to abysmal. Even his own wife testified against him, saying that when Timmy died, he, quote, beat the wall and asked out loud why an 8-year-old boy had to die, but that she didn't see any tears. In other words, he was faking it. With all the evidence against him, it didn't take long for the jury to come to a decision. After just an hour of deliberation, they unanimously decided that Ronald was guilty and sentenced him to death. Maintaining his innocence until his last breath, Ronald appealed his case several times, even to the United States Supreme Court. However, his sentence was upheld and he was put to death by lethal injection on March 31st, 1984, almost 10 years after the crime. He donated his eyes for research and cataract surgery and had a well-done steak with a Boston cream pie as his final meal. Ronald's horrendous actions shocked and scarred a lot of people, not the least of which were his own family. His wife quickly divorced him and she forbade their daughter from seeing him while he was on death row. Elizabeth, now in her 50s, has started a family of her own, though her brother's death will be a permanent fixture in her life. For millions, both in America and outside it, the case was horrifying. Not only did he poison his son, but he attempted to poison 4 other children as well. Halloween was ruined for years, especially in Deer Park where it happened. Nationwide, people were suddenly more interested in their children's candy than ever before, with some agencies even putting out tips on how to spot candy that had been tampered with. Although the fear of poison candy is very real, many people insist that its occurrence is very rare. According to Joel Best from the University of Delaware, for example, Timmy's case was the only documented case of poison candy in the United States until at least 2016. Still, many parents feared the worst and shut their kids in for Halloweens to come. Was Robert the Candyman O'Brien's case an isolated incident, a case of life imitating art, or is he just an unlucky soul who got caught? After all, most murders in the United States don't result in a conviction, and even if they do, who's to say that they got the right guy? Only you can decide what to believe, so I'll leave you to make a decision for yourself. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you'll like and subscribe for more scary and mysterious content. And last but not least, don't forget to trick or treat this Halloween. The Candyman might be waiting for you.